So we went out, and he said, I want to grow a team here, a separate leg. I'm like, okay, well, we don't speak Bahasa. So there's a big issue right there. And we don't know anybody here. And it's a big country with lots of people. So he started reaching out to people, mostly on Instagram, and started making connections. And he met a couple and started talking with them and showed them how to do this business. And now they have 10,000 people on their team. They're platinum. They have a platinum, a bunch of golds, and people on their team. And that's what took us to Royal Crown. That was we were down one lake. We had the OG.
Today my guest for today is Jessica and Nathan, who is our Royal Crown Diamond with Young Living in US. They signed up in 2013 and they achieved the highest rank of our Royal Crown Diamond in April 2018, just 5 years after joining Young Living, with teams all over the world, such as US, Australia, Japan, Malaysia, Indonesia, and also Mongolia. So there is no stopping for this power couple from San Diego, California. So can you please welcome Jessica and Nathan Petty? Thank you guys for doing this. So do you want to share a little bit background about you guys? Like how do you get started, or how do you get started with Young Living?
Sure. My first experience with Young Living was at my mom's house. This isn't super compliant, but I was not feeling well. I mean, we can talk about our own stories. So I was not doing great. And I had my newborn baby son, and my cousin came over to take care of my son, and she said, I brought my oils with me. Do you want me to put some on you? And I said, what's that? And she said, well, it's natural. I'm like, it's natural. It's not, anything else. And she said, no, it's natural. I'm like, okay, sure. So she rubbed an oil on me. Later, I found out it was purification. Okay. And I kind of just passed out. I was beyond, if everyone's felt that way at some point. And I just passed out after that. I don't even know what I had, some kind of bug or something. And I woke up, I don't know, an hour or two later, and I felt a lot better. And I didn't think too much about it. And then about a year later, I was at a homeschooling fair here in California, and I saw a booth about Young Living. And I didn't really connect the dots at the time. I mean, a little bit. I kind of remembered my cousin and things. And I saw the booth, and I went up and I said, can I get some oils? And they said, well, we don't have any here at the booth, but you could order some. And I'm like, well, I don't know if I really want to order something online and have it shipped to me. I want to take it with me right then. So that's a note that if you're working events, have a flip kit ready. Because if she had a flip kit, I would have bought it right there on the spot.
Yep.
She didn't have oils for sale, but she had books. And I bought a copy of Dental Week by Deborah Rayburn.
Okay.
And I took that home, and I read that book for 2 years. 2 years I read that. Put it in my kids' bathroom. So when they were taking a bath, they were little, they take a bath, and I just sit there and read the book. And I read that book for about 2 years. So I never ordered for several reasons. One, the book had no prices. There was no prices in the book. I didn't know anyone using them besides my cousin. So I thought they were kind of weird. And I thought, well, if they did work, how come everybody's not using them? And then, there were no prices, so I didn't think I could afford them. And I didn't really know anybody. My cousin wasn't selling it. And that girl that I met at the fair, she never called me again.
Okay.
I don't even think she got my phone number. So she just never contacted me. I had a flyer with her name on it, which I think I still have somewhere. But just never, I never called her because I didn't really know her. And then I got invited to a party, a class, at a friend's house for another network marketing company, which shall remain nameless, but you can guess. And I went. By then, after reading that book for 2 years, I was like, I want to learn about this stuff from somebody who knows what's up. And I didn't know about brands. I didn't think anything about that.
Yep.
So I went to the class, and I was just like, my eyes were huge. I'm like, I want them all. And that night, I spent about $450 on oils.
Okay.
I was like, I want everything you got. But they didn't tell me about a kit. They just told me about single oils and a diffuser.
Okay.
So I'm like, I want all your singles that you're just talking about for the most part. I mean, I don't think I ordered all of them, but I ordered a lot, and a diffuser. And when they came, I was so excited. I was like, my oils. And then like 2 weeks later after that, I saw an ad on Facebook and it said, you got to see this. And it was a picture of the Young Living. And I'm like, more essential oils, you know? I'm like, I want them all.
Yep.
Because my thinking was, this is how I'm going to take care of my kids.
Yep.
And so I got that kit. And so I had Young Living and I had doTERRA. And I don't know if you saw this the other day, Nathan, the video, I posted the video that Nathan had taken at the time. And my kids are like babies.
Yeah,
and
saw that one.
Yeah, he said, what's going on with you? I'm like, I'm trying to decide between doTERRA and Young Living. And, you know, that was that time when I was trying to decide, do I want to go? And I wasn't thinking about selling it. I just was thinking about which ones did I want to purchase.
Yep.
You know, did I want the rainbow colored ones or did I want like the brown, hip, cool, modern ones?
Yep.
You know, I was not thinking about what's inside the bottle because as far as I knew, it was the same.
Yep.
Little did I know. But, so he said to me, well, just pick a company and go with it. I remember the exact phrase, pick a company and go with it. And I was like, because I was like, I could just order from both, you know, but then he said that. I'm like, yeah, I should just like commit to a brand and use that brand.
Yep.
And I wanted to get a kit for my mom because it was her birthday coming up. And so I called, and since doTERRA didn't tell me about a kit, they just told me about single oils and Young Living had the kit. I thought, you know, I'll get my mom the kit because it's more like a present.
Yeah.
So I called the girl I ordered from, who I didn't even know, it was just a random Facebook friend. I didn't really know her at all. And I said, how do I get somebody else that kit? And she said, well, if you order under your own member number, you'll get a $50 commission. And I thought, like a rebate, like money back, that's cool. Yep. You know, I didn't think about business or know anything about network marketing at all. And so long story short, I ordered that. I got the $50 check. And she had asked me, she said, do you want me to put you in the business group? And I said yes, because I didn't want to say no to her. I didn't want to be rude, you know? Yeah. So that's why I always tell people, just ask them, can I put you in my Facebook group? Because you never know, once they get in the group, they're going to realize how fun it is. You know, that it's not, I don't know, creepy or sleazy or whatever people have about, you know, ideas of what it is. Once they get in the group, they're like, oh, all these people are doing it and they seem pretty nice and they're women like me or men like me. Anyway, so got in the group and got my $50 check, and I just kept on watching. I kept on watching in the group, and the girls were like, yeah, like throwing confetti and like, I mean, not really, but like graphics and people's names on it. And then one day, Lindsay Marino, who's our upline, she said, hey everyone, it's payday. You know, who got paid today? And I got my $50 check, and that was cool. But I was like, how much money are these girls really making? You know? Yeah. Like, what are we talking here? And I'd heard about this post that Lindsay had made called Can We Be Frank? And I'd heard about it somewhere, but I couldn't find it in any of the things. And I knew it had to be about money. I knew it had to be like the lowdown on what she was making. Yeah. I felt it in my bones. So I Googled it and I found the article, and you can still find it, although it's not called that anymore. It's on her blog. If you look on Lindsay's blog, I mean, it's hard to find, but she posted her numbers month by month by month by month and what she was doing. And I was like, whoa. And one of those reasons you can't really find that article anymore is because it's not compliant. It's not compliant, because her numbers at the time are not typical at all. Wow. So,
it must be really a mind-blowing figure for you to say that.
It was like, yeah, I probably shouldn't even say this thing, but it was like, it jumped into like the 4 digits fast. All right. And I was, whoa, is this real? You know? So I just kept on watching. It looked so much fun. And she said, well, you know, just start sharing about it on Facebook. So I was kind of nervous, but I finally was like, all right, I'm just going to do it, because if I can make that kind of money and stay home with my kids, that was my big goal. I just wanted to stay home with my kids and not have to go back to a 9-to-5 job. Yeah. Because I had little babies and I just wanted to stay home with them. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to start sharing. And I started sharing on social media, and for like 2 weeks, nobody said anything. Crickets, like no likes, no comments. And this is at the time when nobody was sharing about products on social media. Facebook and things was for, you know, posting pictures of your dinner and your kids. You know, it was not like, look at my, you know, product that I sell. Yeah. So I started posting about it and sharing my stories. And 2 weeks, like nobody said anything. And then one day I said, I'm going to place my order. Does anybody want to get anything on these products I've been talking about?
Yep.
And it was like a tidal wave.
Wow.
I got so many messages that day. I told Nathan, because the kids are like, Mom, 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 you know, those little kids. And I'm like, just take the kids and go to the park. Just go to the park. Like, take them away. Like, I have to focus. Like, I have so many messages coming in. I mean, that I wasn't like totally crazy, but it was crazy. I sold 5 kits that day.
Wow.
And took $350 in single orders.
Wow.
Because people will message me and they say, well, I think I want to get some lavender and I don't know what else. And I say, well, what do you need it for? You know, that's the biggest thing when you talk to somebody about oils. It's not like, here, let me shove this kit on you. It's like, what do you need it for? You know, ask somebody. Because they'll start talking to you and they'll say, well, my husband can't sleep and my daughter's stressed out all the time from high school and I have got this issue and that issue. And then you can kind of narrow it down based on what they tell you. It's like, well, it sounds like you need lavender and Hanaway, or, you know, kind of tailor it to the oils in the kit, but kind of think about what they're saying. And can you take that lid off? Think about what they're saying. And then, you know, you want to point them in the direction of the kit, but you want to listen to them. So once they said to me, well, you know, I think I have these issues. I say, well, it sounds like you need these 3 oils. And if you bought them individually, that would cost XYZ. Or the kit at the time was $150 US. Yep. Well, you can either pay, you know, $85 for these 3 or whatever it was, you know, or get this whole kit for $150, and then you have a wholesale membership. You get, at the time it was, I think 11 oils, or it was 10 or 11, and you get this diffuser and yada yada. And so, but half the people are like, no, I really just want these 2 or 3 oils, and about half the people was like, well, maybe I should just get the kit. I'm like, maybe I should just get the kit. So my first 2 months was kind of like that. And Leanne, I remember the day she signed up. So I sold my very first kit. Besides my mom, I don't really count that one. But I sold my first 2 kits on October 1st to my friends Leah and Pallavi. And then just people on Facebook started messaging me. And then Leanne signed up on November 30th. So just 2 months later. I think it was November 30th. Or the end of November, but I think it was November 30th. And she was a mom at my kids. We had our kids in the same kindergarten class the year before. And I had a little table. I messaged my friend Yuki and I said, you know, can I come talk about oils at the school? And she said, well, we're actually having a craft fair if you want to have a table. I said, well, how much does the table cost? She said, $20. I'm like, I can do $20. I got $20. You know, I got $20. So I had tables probably this big. It was not very big. It was a tiny little table. And that day, I stood in front of the table, and the craft fair was only like 3 hours. Okay. And I stood in front of my table because I wanted to be able to talk to anybody walking by. I didn't want to stand behind it. I really wanted to take the opportunity for anybody walking by and talk to them. And I remember the girl next to me, she was selling like snack bars or something. She's like, you gonna stand there the whole time? I'm like, yeah, you know? So Leanne walked up to me, and I didn't, even though we were moms in the same class, I didn't know her that well. But she walked up to me, and I remember she had her hands on her hips, and she looked at me and she goes, Jessica, tell me the difference between doTERRA and Young Living. I'm like, oh man, I just started. I don't even know what I said. Something about farms and quality. I mean, I had just chosen between doTERRA and Young Living myself, like the month before, 2 months before. So, but you know what? I forgot to mention, so in August, we drove up to Utah and we actually farm. And that was one of the big decisions for us about choosing the company, because I read in the Lemon Droppers group that Young Living had their own farms and nobody else did. And then we actually went to the farm. And I remember climbing up on the gate and looking out at the people at the farm, which was actually closed for the day, and just thinking I could really grow a huge team. And I just looked at the fields and the lavender. I'm like, this is real. This is something that you can touch and, you know, taste. This is the real deal. And I really think I could do this. And anyway, so that day when Leanne approached me, I could really speak. I didn't have a lot of experience, but I had been to the farm. And I told her about it. And she messaged me I think she messaged me a couple days later, which would have been about November 30th, and she signed up, which was the last day of the month. And I stacked her deep. Big mistake. Never do that. Never stack deep. Thankfully on my level 4, could have been worse. You know, tell people 2 or 3, you know, 4 if you absolutely have to. And she said, you know, I think I might want to do this as a business. But at the time, I was just starting out. I was actually signing up a lot of people at the time. So I didn't really think too much about it when she said that. Today, I'd be like, okay, let's focus and let's make a plan. And, you know, but at the time, I was just like, okay. And pretty quickly, I think she signed up Annie Chan and Rhaenyra. I think she started signing people up within a month or 2.
Okay.
And so this was 2013 still. I mean, by Christmas, she had her team going. And I started to see all these names in Malaysia popping up, just like little like waterfalls of names of like, so I stacked her on my 4th level, and the girl who was on my she's right underneath me, who's one of those people between, she messaged me, she goes, do you see this? I'm like, I do. I do see this. And I'm like, what's happening there? And anyway, so I started working with Leanne, but if you know Leanne, she's very, I'm a red personality. She's a red personality. She's even stronger than me. So at the very, so in June of that year, that was like November, December of June, she was off to Japan. She was moving to Tokyo.
Okay.
In 2014, June.
Yep.
I was like, no, you're just getting started. And I was remember sitting in our school end of year concert, and I see this woman passing out flyers, you know, to all like the parents who are waiting for the show to start. You know, it's like pitch black.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? She goes, I'm leaving for Japan in the morning. I gotta get these out. I was like, you go, you do that. Laughing. I'm like, you're so funny. She's a hustler. She is a go-getter. And we're both, I mean, she's grateful to me for introducing her, and I'm grateful for her for everything. When you listed out all those countries in the beginning, that's because of Leanne.
Right.
Leanne, like, you know, Mongolia and Malaysia and Australia and Japan and Singapore and, you know, all those countries. I say Malaysia.
Yeah, of course.
You know, that's because of Leanne.
Okay.
But then Nathan, so we went to the Indonesia grand opening in 2017.
Yep.
2017. And it was his idea. And he said, let's go on out there and let's see this. And we'll go visit our team in Malaysia, which we hadn't done yet.
We had not visited Malaysia yet. And so we have to go to Malaysia. We have to go and support and be there. And we need to come again. And we will. We'll get over there when we can, when we're good to travel.
Yep.
But he saw the potential in Indonesia. Because it's the 4th most populous country in the world. And what happened in Malaysia could happen in Indonesia.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, you know, okay, sounds good. So we went out.
Yeah.
And he said, I want to grow a team here, a separate leg. I'm like, okay, well, we don't speak Bahasa. So there's a big issue right there. And we don't know anybody here. And it's a big country with lots of people. So he started reaching out to people, mostly on Instagram, and started making connections. And he met a couple and started talking with them and showed them how to do this business. And now they have 10,000 people on their team. They're platinum. They have a platinum, a bunch of golds, and people on their team. And that's what took us to Royal Crown. That was we were down one leg. We had the OGV, and that one leg, it just went up. Yeah. And now Indonesia, I'm sure you know this, but Indonesia, the second most revenue for Young Living after the U.S. Bigger than Canada, bigger than Malaysia, bigger than Indonesia is the most revenue is coming from Indonesia.
Let me just kind of help. So when you talk about Young Living, think about Young Living, you're thinking about the one, right? The individual. What is the individual need? When you're having a one-on-one conversation, you are concentrating on them, you're trying to understand what their needs are, like Jessica said. So I definitely want to echo that. But if you're really looking at the business and you're serious about the business, then you are looking at other places in the world where, where there's potential. Really, community is huge. One of the in Indonesia, our team there, there's a couple there that does it, and she was in the world of IVF, in vitro fertilization.
Okay.
And I saw that, and I said, wow, that was kind of an interesting thing. And so she's kind of been a spokeswoman for that and her own connections there. And so yeah, community is huge, right? We're concerned about the one, and when we're having a one-on-one conversation, of course we can, if we're naturally associated because of a hobby or because of a need or because of, her in this situation being associated with IVF, I'm sure that's just kind of one small part of how she grew her team. But it is an important key, and something that was real and genuine to her and her life and her situation. So community is key. And then, yeah, Young Living, we're living in a really interesting time. Yeah. We have this growing company with world-class products. No one has the number of products, the quality of the products. There just really and truly is no true competition. Young Living stands really on its own in terms of quality and variety and the world-class product offering that we, that's there.
But there's the illusion of competition. We know our products are the best,
yep.
But other people don't know that. Like I said, when I first started, which one do I choose? I don't know. I was basing my decision off of the bottle and not what was in the bottle. But people don't know that. They don't know until someone teaches them.
Yeah.
So while you say there's no competition, there is. We have to be the teacher of that quality.
We do have to be the teacher of the quality and the seed to seal. So that's really, really critical. I think I worked as a missionary for 2 years, and in principle, what I was doing was leading people I was inviting them to do something. I was inviting them to have their own experience. And that is critical. You have to invite people to have their own experience. And in order to have that experience, you have to use the product.
Yep.
Maybe you're connected to a person. Maybe you see a product. There's some entry point, or maybe there's a few. Maybe it's a gal that you know or a guy that you know, and they're suggesting a product. And so that's kind of the entry point, right? But I think our desire for health and for the health, not only for us as individuals, but as our family, that was like paramount. That was like, you have the same, in the beginning of this, you talked about, the MLM industry, the network marketing industry. And I think there's a lot of feeling, because based on people's experiences, right?
Yep.
Some people do great with it, and some people do so with it, and some people don't do very well with it. And that could be product, that could be business, it could be an association with somebody in that company. So basing your decision on how you enter a company, basing your decision to continue based on a product or an association is everyone's experience is different, I guess is what I'm trying to say in a phrase. And so our experience with Young Living has been amazing. One thing that I absolutely love about Young Living, and this is one of many, many, many things, but this is a huge one. Corporate Young Living, they really listen to us in the field, and they do their best to adjust when it makes sense to adjust from a corporate standpoint to answer a very specific need. They really have been flexible. And I believe that the strength of Young Living is largely due to that mode of operation, being flexible and listening to the field and really trying to do their best. I mean, honestly, it's the loyalty that the consumer, that the user, the distributor has to Young Living is so key, right? If there is a true loyalty there, they will continue to, to purchase. So going
she has lots of questions.
Going back, let me just kind of finish this thought.
No worries.
There's the one, and then you zoom out just a little bit, and then maybe there's community, and then you zoom out a little bit further, and you see a country with a lot of potential, and then you zoom out, and then you see the world, and you see what Gary saw in terms of the amazing power of Young Living and taking it to an individual, taking it to a community, taking it to a country, and ultimately taking it to the world. So yeah, Young Living has really been, every day of my life, I truly thank God for Young Living.